Hello, and welcome to this week's webinar. This is Sarah Flack, the Education Coordinator at the Child Advocacy Center of the Finger Lakes. And this week, I want to talk about a slavery footprint. And I also want to share a pretty interesting resource with you. So, what do I mean about slavery footprint? Well, what I mean is we're talking about human trafficking. And human trafficking involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act from someone. In human trafficking, we have at least three parties involved. We have our trafficker, our victim or survivor, and also the person who is purchasing either the labor or sex act. And our trafficker would be the person providing that service, as well as the person who is really the one profiting from the service. I do have a small graph here that I wanted to share. So it's just talking about the different sectors of trafficking. So we have sexual exploitation or sex trafficking, and also labor exploitation or trafficking. And as you can see, what we typically talk about or hear about in the news and media currently is more of the sex trafficking, but the labor trafficking is occurring at a much higher rate. And the reason that we don't see that as much is because typically when we're focusing on trafficking, we're talking about minors and children. And what we're seeing with minors and children in the United States is that they're more often being sold for the purpose of commercial sex. The other situation that we're realizing is that labor trafficking is highly underreported. As you can imagine, one of the biggest threats to somebody who's being labor trafficked is the fact that they tend to be minorities or people who are in the United States without the proper documentation. So that threat that is being held above them is that threat or fear of law enforcement or deportation. So a lot of people who find themselves in a labor trafficking situation tend not to report or seek assistance. So worldwide, more than 21 million people are involved in forced labor. And this graph just kind of shows you or gives you an idea of the number of people in each continent who are being forced into labor trafficking. And I also just wanted to share some examples of where this labor trafficking is happening. So, again, I mentioned that a lot of our victims or people who are involved in the labor trafficking tend to be, at least in the United States, illegally. So, illegal immigrants, which you can imagine they have a lot of barriers. So, one of their biggest barriers is that threat or fear of deportation. They also probably have language barriers. They're geographically separated from people who may be able to help them, as well as their loved ones and family members. So, there could be threats and manipulation tactics used in terms of restricting who they can see or talk to, as well as threats to their family or people they care about if they were to, kind of rock the boat or upset the system. Some of the places that we're seeing a lot of the labor trafficking happening are in areas of agriculture, construction, domestic work, so work within the home, whether that be cleaning, child care, providing meals, things of that work, fishing and food processing, as well as manufacturing, mining, and textiles. So, how I want to spend the rest of this webinar is showing you this survey. It was developed by a nonprofit group, and it's going to be on this website, slaveryfootprint.org. And we're really just going to look at, what we have, and I'll use myself as like a general example, and how that can relate to how many slaves we have working for us. And it's in really vague terms. So when you think about slaves working for you, no, this isn't somebody you know about or that you're directly paying or getting a service from. But you'll see the types of information we enter during the survey and how that may be related to slavery or labor slavery that's happening worldwide. So whether that be our clothing and shoes that are being made in Indonesia, China, Vietnam, or our jewelry and our precious stones, our diamonds that are coming from Africa, as well as what we eat in our food and where that is actually produced or harvested. So I'm just going to take a minute here and I'm going to share a different screen with you. This will take us right to this survey. So when you go to slaveryfootprint.org, you can select the survey and you can enter a zip code. So this is our zip code for our main office in Canandaigua. And it's going to lead us through a variety of questions. So, first question, whether you're male or female, and your age. You can also select your skin color, whether you're white or Caucasian, or you can pick blue. And like it says, it will not affect your score. So I am a white female in my 30s. It's going to ask us if we have any children. Here I put that I have two children. And then if you were to add, so we can add, another child, and then this would let us toggle their age. I'm going to stick with the two children that are already inputted. And then on some of our answers, it's going to allow us to fine tune our results. This part is pretty important because this is going to look at the types of items that you have within your home. So what you can see is the percentage of items in this category are ethically sourced. So in terms of what the numbers are, I actually already kind of filled this out just based on an average. So, I said we had a couple of action figures. We each have a bicycle, some puzzles, some stuffed animals, and you can add or subtract as many as you want. So, um, Hmm. Shorts, socks, swimsuits, these are all pretty strange. And actually, they do give us the option later on. So I completed this as though for each one of my children. So I'm gonna, add. So we're gonna say we have like 10 pairs of shorts, um, 10 pairs of socks per child, swimsuits, underwear. Um, I'm actually gonna put these up to 20 because I think this is for both. So we'll say, okay, we have 10 pairs of socks and underwear per child, um, maybe 6 pairs of shorts per child. And these are just rough estimates. A couple pairs of jeans, a couple button-up shirts, some sports uniforms, sweatshirts. Gets cold in New York, so we'll say we each have a few. Board games are pretty popular in our house, so I have that set at 10. Some building toys, plastic squirt gun, remote control car you could add. We'll add one there. It's playing cards, markers, and then if you were to have like an electric ride-on car, we do have an electric ride-on toy. And once we're done with that and we're happy with it, we can just close that up. Um, Also, each page it does give us some interesting statistics or information. So this one in 2007, Save the Children reported that 250,000 children live and work in Pakistan brick kilns to incomplete social isolation. That's more than the population of Irvine, California, Baton Rouge, LA, or Orlando, Florida. So it's just kind of giving you an idea of how um, how this situation, this trafficking is being experienced by so many people worldwide. Okay, so on question 4, it's going to have us um, kind of give a little more information about our living situation. So here I just created a 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 car kind of situation. You could certainly add a bathroom or a bedroom, take some away, whatever you want to do. We'll leave that just how it is. Here's another interesting one. So, no 401k, no break room. More than 200,000 children are forced to work in India's carpet belt of Uttar Pradesh. That makes it pretty large operation considering Honda, Sony, Procter& and Gamble, and Boeing each have fewer employees. So here again, talking about child labor. And then we're going to talk about our fruits and vegetables, and these are kind of fun. You can just kind of swirl them around. So this was set at 0. We don't eat much seafood here, but we'll increase it for um, the sake of this. So we do eat a lot of fruits and veggies, grains, and then our meat and poultry. So, and then you can also look at your appetite. So are you a heavy eater? Are you a light eater? We just kind of went in the middle, with just kind of in the middle here with like an average appetite. So, shrimp cocktail, anyone? Bonded labor is used for much of Southeast Asia's shrimping industry, which applies more shrimp to the United States than any other country. Laborers work up to 20 hour days to peel 40 pounds of shrimp. Those who attempt to escape are under constant threat or of violence or sexual assault. So, could you imagine working 20 hours a day just simply peeling shrimp? All right, we're going to take a peek in our medicine cabinet. And here, what we would do is if we didn't use certain things, we would just unclick them. But we have a razor and shaving cream. Okay, we do use razors and shaving cream in our house. Suntan lotion, face wash, floss, mouthwash, toothpaste, toothbrush, lipstick, eye, mascara, foundation, different types of makeup, more lipstick, brushes, nail polish. So I do have some makeup in my house and some nail polish, hand wash and soap, shampoo, body wash, comb or hairbrush, any kind of Tylenol, aspirin, ibuprofen, contact lenses. So we don't have that. Perfume and deodorant. So here, maybe if you're a single person, you wouldn't have all of these different items. You might have one and not another. Maybe if only males who aren't using any makeup live in the home, you could eliminate the second shelf. And then how much jewelry we have. So blood isn't limited to diamonds. It says rubies are believed to be Burma's second largest export after teak wood and are commonly mined using forced labor. Mines are controlled by either the government or the army, who oversee workers in terrible conditions for little or no pay. Again, these are just sliders, so you can adjust how many diamonds, precious stones, rubies, topaz, anything like that you might have, gold, silver, platinum. And as you add it, it just kind of adds to this picture. So it's not representative of the types. So as you can see here, it shows mostly rings. Um, most of my jewelry would be more in the form of earrings or bracelets. Um, but it just kind of adds general, just so you can see. One of probably the most interesting pages, in my opinion, is this question 8, which is talking about electronics. And it gives you the option to select how you would consider yourself. So you can see with a technophobe, not a lot of devices, but we still have, TV, maybe a phone, computer, DVD player, camera. So maybe one or two of each. A regular Joe might have a few more extras, maybe a video game system, maybe some speakers. Now, I have two children, so I actually selected gamer, and um, what we can see here is we can also fine tune this as well. So we don't have a desktop computer, but we do have two Blu-ray or DVD players. And what's tricky here is we probably have many more DVDs than that, but we only have two players. Game console, so we have a PlayStation, we have a couple of DSs, we have a Wii, so I put that up to four. Cell phones, we have four phones in our home. Each member of our family does have a laptop or a Chromebook for school and work. We do have a couple of Kindles, a couple pairs of headphones. We don't have a flip cam or an MP3 player, but we do have CDs. We do have three TVs in our home. No speakers, no camcorder. We do have a camera and electronic tablet. I'm just going to consider that our Kindles and Chromebooks. So we'll close that up. As you can see, some people might have way more or way less of that. And we already did fine tune that. Oh, it looks like it reset it for us though. So we'll go back in really quick. And we'll just kind of adjust that. There we go. Question number 9, we're going to be looking at sporting goods. Another easy one. So this says, in China, soccer ball manufacturers will work up to 21 hours in a day for a month straight. Even the toughest American coaches wouldn't ask that from their squad. No, they certainly wouldn't. So working 21 hours a day for a month straight. When do you when do you eat? Obviously, you can tell that not only are those days long, but we can expect that the working conditions would not be great. So in a manufacturing plant with inappropriate ventilation, safety of equipment could be a concern, availability for breaks. Obviously, people are working beyond exhaustion. But here we can just kind of select what types of equipment we have. So I'm just going to select quite a few of these and we'll move on to our closet. So I already had adjusted this a bit and I'll probably just leave it where it is. But as you can see again, sliders, so we can slide how many dresses or suits or jackets we have, as well as our tops, pants, lingerie, etc. This fact, school's out for cotton. 1.4 million children have been forced to work in Uzbek cotton fields. There are fewer children in the entire New York City public school system. This is our largest school system in the country. And obviously, if these children are working in the fields, they probably aren't getting an appropriate education either. And this one is really just to reiterate that sex trafficking is a big part of human trafficking. So it does ask how many times have you paid for sex, but there's really no way to input an answer. So they don't actually want to know, but they do just want to remind you that the sex industry is there. It is happening both in the United States and overseas. So this just says the sex industry relies heavily on force, fraud, and coercion. Whether in massage parlors, brothels, or the streets, prostituted persons are regularly subjected to violence and denied the money they bring in. If you participate in these activities, you are contributing to the demand that fuels sex trafficking, making your slavery footprint inestimably bigger. And based on all the information, will kind of give us this general idea of how many slaves for us. So, I don't consider what I input to be a very large number in terms of the clothing, the shoes, even the equipment and electronics compared to some of these. But the result I got is that I or somebody similar to put certain information slaves for them. So of think about where you're purchasing your goods from, how you're getting these goods, and what kind of message that sends. So you might want to think about the types of businesses that you're supporting or where your clothes are being made, and maybe try to put your money towards other avenues. It also gives you this way to sign up to end slavery, make a commitment, and get updates and information as well. So that kind of concludes what I wanted to share with you this week. However, if you have any other questions or concerns, there's so much information out there at this point. I would encourage you to visit Polaris website for more information about human trafficking, as well as Love 146. And certainly you can go to slaveryfootprint.org and take your own survey to find out how many slaves are working for you. I hope you found this information interesting, and I hope you continue to seek more information about it in the future.